Imam Adam, and he is going to be our host for the rest of the period that we're going to be here. And so whatever we need to know, first he is going to take us through different places. But the only requirement that he's asking of us is that when we go inside the mosque, we remove our shoes. And then we'll be listening to what he's going to say. He'll show us a lot of things and so. And then towards the end, we'll ask questions. So let us give him more time and then ask questions. So this is the group that we have.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you all. Actually, an honor and a pleasure to meet you all. Basically, what we have here is known as the Islamic Cultural Institute. The institute that you are currently in is known as the Islamic Cultural Institute. It's been in existence since 1962 with the exact same buildings that you see. Apart from the red building that you see behind me and in front of you, that was built in 1980. Okay. Now basically this institute consists of three basic buildings. One is the mosque, which is the main prayer area. The main focus of this institute is the mosque, where we pray 5 times a day. When we go into the mosque, I'll explain to you what times we pray, when we pray, and why we pray. And then the building to my right, that is actually what we refer to in Islamic terms as the madrasa. The madrasa is basically, if you want to translate it loosely into the English language, it's an Islamic school. But this Islamic school differs from the regular school like the ones you attend. For the simple reason is the children that come here will only attend school in the afternoon. In the morning they will go to the regular school like yourselves do. When they come here, our main focus here at the school is teaching children how to read the Quran. The Quran is the Muslim holy book, and read it in its original language, which is the Arabic language. Because majority of the Muslims that you have in Zimbabwe are not of Arabic origin. Like myself, Indian origin, you get people that are of African origin, etc. Thus Arabic not being their mother tongue, what we do is they'll come in the afternoon, we will teach them how to read the Quran. Not only read the Quran, even memorize the Quran. And when we talk about memorize the Quran, I will show you exactly what the Quran consists of. Okay? And we have children as young as 8, 9 years old that have memorized the entire Quran from cover to cover. Now, why do we actually teach the Quran in the Arabic language? If somebody can just write it down, I will then explain it to you exactly why we emphasize that the Quran should be read and taught in its original language. It can be understood in any other language. That is why we have over 120 translations of the Quran throughout the world in different languages. But emphasis is made on reading the Quran in its original language, and that is the Arabic language. So that is basically the madrasa. They will come here, and with that, with teaching them the Quran, we teach them Islamic values. Okay, not terrorism, Islamic values. Okay, which is Islamic values consist of the normal and regular values that every culture promotes: kindness, no hatred, love, etc. So they will come here for approximately 3 hours every afternoon, or maybe less than that, and then they will return back to their homes at about 4:30 or 5 o'clock. Then we have behind me the red building, that's the creche. It's a regular creche, like you get any other creche up to ECD. The only difference between this creche and any other regular creche is taught with Islamic values. Like how you get a Christian college. A Christian college is teaching you academics with Christian values, or in the light of Christian values. The same thing is the creche will teach them the regular syllabus, but with Islamic values. So what I will do now is I'll take you on a tour of the mosque. Okay, I'll explain to you exactly what time we pray, when we pray, why we pray at those particular times. What are the requirements before you are permitted to pray? And when we enter, we'll understand exactly. I understand, and I know this is a regular question that many people ask: why remove our shoes before we enter the church? Because it's something that's only done by Muslims. Very few, in fact, I doubt there's any other religion which requires you to remove your footwear in order to pray. Okay, so we can actually proceed. And please, if anybody has any questions, like the teacher just mentioned, it would be highly appreciated if you write it down, and then when we sit down, you can actually ask those questions. In fact, I'll explain to you how we pray, and if anybody else, I like to start a discussion based on your questions, because I want to tell you something you want to know, and the only time you want to know something is if you ask a question. Okay, so I've explained to the teacher previously when I met him to ask you to write down a few questions. You might have a few questions already, and because you have not been exposed to the manner in which we pray, there might be a lot of more questions that will arise after I've taken you on a tour. Please write it down, and when we have a session, we sit down, we can actually discuss those questions that you have. Okay, thank you.
So probably at the door there, we remove our shoes.
At the door, the main door.
Yes.
Sorry, this mosque consists of. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This mosque consists of just one building that has 3 entrances. One to the left, one to the right, and the main entrance is in front of the mosque. So what we will do is we'll take you to the main entrance, to the mosque, and there actually we've got the times at which we pray. I'll explain to you the times, and I'll explain to you why exactly we pray at those times. Okay? And one important thing is we've allowed you to take videos, we've allowed you to take pictures, but please, one important aspect of the mosque is the sanctity of the mosque. The sanctity of the mosque means we will not raise our voice in the mosque. Yes, I will raise my voice because I'm there to teach you, but please, no laughter. It's actually the house of God. We have been asked to visit the house of God. If we visit the house of the president, if we visit the house of even a senior official of utmost respect, we will actually spend our time in that house. This is the King of Kings, the Master of all masters. So please let us ensure that we obey, the sanctity of the mosque. Please. Thank you.
So we have St. Ignatius College students, Form 4s, Form 5s, Form 6s who want to do family and religious studies visiting the mosque in Belvedere. And we have just met the Imam who explained a few things, and now we're visiting the mosque, and we will remove our shoes and enter. And I liked one thing he said: the mosque is the house of God. And that's just exactly what we believe when we talk about our church, in Catholic Church, that is the house of God. So there's a lot of similarities already that we see. And so yeah, so this is it. This is part of our educational tour. Yours, Father Pajga, accompanying the students, together with Mr. Jairo, Sister Irene, and Mrs. Mugadza, the teachers of St. Ignatius. And we met Mr. Mutemi, one of the parents. So here we are at the entrance, where we shall remove our shoes, and we'll continue with the video. And we will learn something from our brothers and sisters of Islamic faith.